Well, you're on the spiritual journey, which means you're headed somewhere. Either you're trying to find meaning in the external world or you're excavating the idea of the self behind all those beliefs and identity. Now, on the path, there's going to be some rocks, there's going to be some bumps on the road, and either of these things will stall you or even worse, set you back further than when you started. Now, it's important to understand that with bliss comes with risk. And in this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 obstacles on the spiritual path and how to be more aware of them and how to confront these things. Starting with number 1, manipulation. You ever see these guys? They got their eyes rolled back in their head. They're, oh, the Kundalini power. Oh, they're shaking and quivering. And, oh, look at what I can do. And, oh, look at this mantra. If you chant this, oh, you're going to feel the tingling in your fingers, or you're going to feel your pelvis burning alive. I think spiritual seekers are bombarded with a level of suggestion that it might as well be manipulation. I'm not even talking about the multi-billion-dollar industry that is out there with their self-help gurus and their products that don't even do anything. Not talking about that at all. These little things that you see in these videos that are like, oh, this will do this and this will do that. Our scriptures actually know what happens when you're influenced in this type of way. If we turn to the Upanishads themselves, and so they say, this person is made of desire. As one desires, so one resolves form. As one resolves form, so one acts. And as one acts, so one attains, so one becomes. How can you know if what you're doing is something genuine or an emulation that the brain is making that it thinks is the result of practice because you saw it in some type of advertisement, someone's video, someone's suggestion to you? The focus should be on methods and methods alone. And great teachers and great gurus will often be very cryptic about interpretations and meanings and feelings in that type of way, and would provide you technique and proper ways of doing practice. That's the mark of a great teacher. That's the mark of a great guru. You should not follow narratives online. What you should do is find someone in person to teach you these things because you have a unique signature and that unique signature should be respected. Everybody in this world, the whole world is filtered through them, and every single statistical analysis that is a part of you, all the statistically significant differences, all the spiritually significant differences that are within you are filtered through the body. And because of that, everything happens in its own unique way. Get to know these type of things, advertising science. Get to know the little tricks and the little things that people do that is measurable, scientific, and is deployed on an actual daily basis to get us to buy things, to get us to do different things. It's very important to understand that just because you're spiritual, oh, you're climbing up this ladder away from this material nonsense. Oh, this material stuff is so unimportant. It's completely wrong to think that way. Think of it as a ladder. You are climbing the ladder. Just because you pass the bottom rung does not make the bottom rung any less relevant. It adds to the stability of the entire ladder. So respect it and understand it, and always be careful with this type of manipulation. Have that skeptic in front of you all the time, and when you're doing practice, do it with the utmost sincerity. That's how you get to where you need to go. Obstacle number 2, practice starts becoming so habitual. Oh, you do it at the same time. You do it the same day. You know exactly what you're doing. You're sitting there, you're doing your mantra japa, all the same count every single day. Oh, it's boring, boring, boring. And you're like, just mechanically doing it. If you're mechanically doing anything and you're just not feeling it, you're kind of just doing it out of just doing it because maybe you're told to by someone or whatever, then you should try to find a way to improve your experiences. I do not like this idea and this mentality that, oh, like boredom is some type of test and you shouldn't try to look for anything else. That's the ego looking for something. No, we can measure improvement in our ability to endure tapas in enduring longer sessions or different variations in sessions, stuff like that. We need to find ways to feel like we're improving as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Things like speeding up the mantra japa. Instead of doing one mala a day, you're doing two malas a day. If you don't have time for that, you're changing the different pace. You're speeding it up. You're slowing it down. All these different things. And a great method of improving your meditative practices is adding to it in the beginning. Pranayamas are so good. And I'm talking about like nadi shuddhi, right? Your alternate nostril breathing. We're breathing in, holding, then breathing out through the other nostril, and then breathing in through that same nostril, and then repeat. That practice alone can be mastered. Not just like all this other stuff that you're doing. You can play around with the ratios. You can do two breaths out, one breath in, hold, two breaths out, one breath in, hold. And guess what? That takes a lot of mastery to get to there. Do not just start there. You're going to lose breath. It might feel lightheaded, all this other stuff. Be careful with these type of things. Gradually get yourself there because this is what mastery is all about. Keep track, keep a notepad, put it on your phone, make sure that you're actually recording yourself getting better. And we'll use a workout term, in the gym is so good at this type of language. It's called progressive overload. You want to be progressively overloading your meditative practices. Just like at the gym, instead of, oh, I'm going to do more reps or higher weight than last week to overload what I did in the previous week to set the normal at a different and higher level. I'm going to do that with my mantra practices, with my pranayam, with everything that I'm doing. And the only way I could do that is through practical measurement and recording of each spiritual session. We can be precise with our spiritual practices, and just doing it based on vibes will get you pretty lost pretty fast. Problem number 3, standing in your power. Now, this phrase is very common amongst people that are deeply interested in the divine feminine, very interested in Shakti. Now, putting human identity politics aside, femininity is change. Shakti is power. The only way how to know of power is through its ability to change. Therefore, femininity is power. Power is Ma. Shakti is power. Shakti in its most raw form is when Ma Kali has defeated the Asura Rakta Bija, drinking the blood of the Asura and becoming a threat to all of creation. Being a threat to both good and evil, even after trying to do a good thing. Power in its most raw form has no consciousness. It's like a battery connected to a light bulb with little to no resistance in the circuit. What happens? All the energy just goes. It'll blow out the light bulb, burn it out. It could melt the battery entirely, completely destroying itself. That is what raw Shakti is like, without any containment. Now, if you refer to Ohm's law, which is current equals voltage over resistance, when resistance is zero, when there's no resistance in the circuit, like I said, the current becomes infinite, and that's where you get that problem. Now, in this case, the R is not only resistance, it is also Rudra. It is Lord Shiva, 100% masculinity. 100% masculinity is as good as a man playing dead on the ground, completely inert, but absolutely conscious. When Ma Kali steps on Lord Shiva, what happens? The feminine can have a focus and a containment, and the masculine can actually have the permission to be something and manifest within the world. the bulb can consistently light. Going back to only standing in your power, just taking in all this raw energy, you want to be a bit flexible. You want to understand, you don't want to be so rigid in the path of spirituality because you don't want to be knocked down so easily and then, have to crawl your way back to where you were. If you ever watch these people and they're on, YouTube, or they're making content online, or you actually meet people in real life and they're really engaged in this stuff. They're going at it, they're very motivated in the beginning, and then they fall off, something changes. At first they're saying that they want to make a difference and they want to spread a message, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can't do it like this. I want to do it like that. Change the medium. It's not working the way how I thought it would. And that's because you burnt yourself out. You don't want to burn yourself out. You want to have that consistent container within you. And you also want to equally have that power to drive you forward. And that type of balance is what's required to achieve your dharma, right? You want something out of this whole thing. You want something out of this whole spirituality. You actually want that dharma to be completed. Well, anything that you want comes at a price. And that price is your discipline, is your consistency. It is putting in the work. It is conventional understanding of doing something like anything else to improve your life. Or this is the spiritual journey, and the spiritual journey is naturally a roller coaster. It doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. You don't need to fall off and then come back and, oh, it's another different thing. It's another change. No, it doesn't. It's simply, that's just something that people made up in their minds to, as an excuse. Problem number 4, thinking that spirituality just begins and ends when you do your practice. When you sit down over there in your corner every single day and, oh, you do it, you get up, oh, spirituality's over. That is not how this works. Spirituality does not end when you got to go to work. It doesn't end when you got to go to the gym and work out. It doesn't end when you got to take care of the kids. And it doesn't end when you got to go to sleep. For some reason, that there is this misunderstanding of this holistic way of living life, a misunderstanding of what it means to be a Hindu. What does it mean to follow Sanatana Dharma? It means that you understand the sattvic ideal, the need for a clean environment, and the 3 gunas. You understand the cycle of becoming a student, to being a householder, to retirement, to renunciation. In other words, you understand the acquisition of capital gains and the distribution of capital gains, to not hoard anything, but still enjoy it. Going back to enjoyment, you understand kama, pleasure. You understand artha, fortune. You understand dharma, your job in this life, and you understand moksha, the ultimate liberation that comes with a deep understanding of the philosophical axioms that is essential to being a Hindu. Reincarnation, all these other things, karma, and all that good stuff. You understand that sitting down in meditation is not free. That for every yogi enjoying the fruits of peaceful land, that there's hundreds of men and women at the border defending that land. You understand this holistic way of living, that we keep this thing rolling. That's what it means to be a Hindu. That's what it means to follow Sanatana Dharma. What does it mean for something to be holistic? What does it mean for it to be a lifestyle? You understand the variables to create a society to sustain spirituality. And that in and of itself is spiritual. So it never ends in every sector. It doesn't end in governance, doesn't end in the economy, it doesn't end in holding a house and being a householder, it doesn't end with your family. All of that is important to spirituality. Remember that. Always contribute in different ways. It doesn't matter if it seems so, materialistically, what's it matter, this material stuff? It matters. It's all spiritual. I thought you said everything is one. Everything is one. If everything is one, then that means that even the materialistic stuff is one. So you got to work with it. We all got to work with what we got. So work with it. Be proactive. Go out there. Help your community. Help your community make sure that things are working properly around you and your neighbors, and that governance is being held to the utmost standard of the law. All that is spirituality. Never forget that. Never forget that. That's Sanatha Dharma right there. Problem number 5, when words become useless. And I'll give an example. I have a big problem with non dualists, especially the ones that say everything is God. Oh, everything is one, everything is God. This Brahman concept. Oh, Brahman is God. Now, you see, words are tools. Tools are meant to be useful. Words are useful due to its conventional understanding of a word. God, as we all understand it, is a relationship between two subjects. However, that relationship is. As far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, it can be multiple different ways how to have that relationship between you and the deity. A romantic one, a friendship, looking at the Supreme Lord, looking at your ruler, all that is possible. But to say that everything is one and even you yourself is God and everything is just God, it completely destroys the understanding of what God is. That's not God. That has a better term that we have found, and that is consciousness, because we are constantly in it, even in our thoughts, even in looking at our own body, even the idea of God within our mind is still within consciousness. It is like a fish in water trying to understand water. Like it can't. It is the medium in which it exists in. Make sure that when we're using our words, we use it in a very effective way. And words are very great for discernment, to understand the kinks in our logic and our understanding and the scope of what we're trying to attain. Remember, a big part of the spiritual journey is discernment. It is using words to articulate our logic, to articulate our philosophical axioms, this intellectual understanding of that we are following a path. And that means that by definition, we are restricting ourselves in certain ways to be like a point, a needle towards the ultimate truth. And that's all what we're trying to find. In order to do that, we need to be precise. With the understanding of these 5 obstacles, I hope that you yourself are sharper to get to the point of the ultimate truth. This is the Hindu Conceptualist, signing out.